Ability, operating strong for 65 years. Apply online at foltztrucking.com.
The staff of Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home sends sincere wishes of health and happiness to your family and friends.
One of the most important things we can do is serve others. I have learned that giving back to the community helps in ways beyond the simple acts.
We reflect on what matters most, being with those we love and making memories to last a lifetime. May the quiet peace of this holiday season fill your heart and home. Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, helping families look to the future with hope.
This is How They Do It, sponsored by Coast Materials, and this month we talk to Tom Knowlton, owner and head brewer of Drecker Brewing. How do they take grain, barley, malt, and turn it into your delicious carbonated beverage called beer? You'll gain access only brewmasters have and find out what it takes to start a brewery and make your favorite beer. It's more than you might think. Tuesday, December 20th at 2:35, another episode of This is How They Brew It on The Jay Thomas Show.
It's starting to look a lot like Christmas. From the gang at Breadsmith, I'd like to wish you the happiest of holidays. Let us make your event even better by being your holiday baker. Of course, we have German Stroll and chocolate babka waiting for you. Sweet trays for any gathering can be made to order. Our cookies, bars, and sweets are legendary. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, Saturdays till 4, but we will be closing at noon on Christmas Eve. Breadsmith is located at the corner of 32nd Avenue South and 17th Street in South Fargo. Breadsmith, where we bake from scratch, fresh every day.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. 103 right now in the afternoon. 20 degrees with a northwest wind at 24 miles an hour. And man, the impacts from this winter storm just will not let up. Still snowing here in Fargo with blowing snow. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm here with WDAY Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And Bridgette, you're still trapped down in South Dakota, aren't you? What is this, day number 4 for you?
You know, I've lost track. As far as I know, this is my new address. Please just forward my paycheck here. I think it's fair to say, though, I'm in a far better spot than ever so many others who people have also been trying to be out on the road. They've been stuck. There are vehicles stuck on the highway. Plenty of folks wanted to leave here this morning, but unfortunately, the deputies were stopping people at the edge of town on the highways and saying, look, it's that bad out there and we have vehicles stuck on the road. Therefore, we will fine you for going out on the highways. So people are staying where they need to.
Well, there was a person that decided it would be a good idea to trek west of Valley City on closed I-94. And, well, I heard that they got into an accident or they're in the ditch and, well, they're just kind of sitting there now. So. So just stay put. Even though the snow showers are winding down, it's still not safe out there.
And I don't want to be the Debbie Downer with this storm. The moisture's good. Okay, so everyone is going to want the moisture at some point in time. The downside is, no matter how much you're prepared for it. And I distinctly remember you and Dean even talking about this on Friday. We're going to have some severe weather. But we did not expect, I think, that it would linger this long. Would that be fair to say that we weren't expecting to go all the way through this week?
Well, last week we were only expecting it to be about 3, maybe 4, and it turned into 4, kind of 5 days. It just stalled and sat, and we thought it would be strong enough to break through a ridge on the east coast. It just wasn't, and it sat over Minnesota for 2 days just spinning, and now we're getting on the backside of it as it's finally starting to exit our area. But that's going to leave these snow showers lingering through the rest of this afternoon into tonight. Maybe even a few flurries into Saturday, although the bulk of the accumulation is done. We'll talk about how much more snow I'm expecting is going to fall here in the FM Metro, when conditions are going to improve, and when Bridgette may finally be able to return home. That and so much more. We'll have a bunch of ag topics that we're going to get to, and our guest today that will be joining us, that is Jay Behrends. Is that correct, Bridgette? Behrends is his last name?
Yes, sir, you are correct.
All right. He's with the First Interstate Bank, so we're going to be seeing what's going on over there with all end-of-the-year taxes, interest rate hikes, how they're related with agriculture, and what are some of the concerns that they're facing, as well as a few of our ag topics that we'll try and get to today, including the student food insecurities in Minnesota. That'll be an interesting one. What's going on with potatoes? We're always seems like we're bringing up potatoes here on Weather and Ag in Focus. And we got a few other things, including dust pneumonia lingering for cattle producers and something going on with Texas A&M in case of livestock disease. So we'll try and get to all those, including our guests coming up here, and we'll take a look at the forecast and the weather when we return. So stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Brittany Griner, in a message posted to Instagram, delivered her first public comment since she was freed from 10 months of detention in Russia. ABC's Aaron Katursky has details.
Brittany Griner said she intends to return to the basketball court this season with her WNBA team, the Phoenix Mercury. In doing so, she posted on Instagram, "I look forward to being able to say thank you to those of you who advocated, wrote, and posted for me." Griner's statement, her first since her release from Russia, included a special thank you to President Biden and added, "I know you are committed to bringing Paul Whelan home, too."
U.S. border cities are asking for help from the federal government. A pair of major immigration policies could expire in the next week, and that could lead to more people entering the U.S. across the southern border. City of Denver declared a state of emergency on Thursday. The mayor, Michael Hancock, said the federal government needs to take action.
I'm not trying to sound political, but I'm trying to say pragmatic and practical. This is going to continue to happen, continue to overwhelm cities all over this country until Congress works on fixing this situation.
Christmas is still more than a week away, but today marks the start of the holiday travel season. ABC transportation correspondent Gio Benitez has a preview from LaGuardia Airport.
If you thought we saw a lot of travelers for Thanksgiving, get ready because we're looking at double that in the next week. AAA is predicting 112 million Americans will travel more than 50 miles for the Christmas New Year holiday. Now, the majority by car, but a huge number by air. United, Delta, and American, they plan to fly more than 27 million people between today and January 3rd. That's a record since the start of the pandemic.
At least 6 journalists were suspended from Twitter. New owner Elon Musk also permanently banned the account that used publicly available information to track the whereabouts of his jet. Musk said that account threatened his and his family's safety. You're listening to ABC News.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work.
Sorry, I'm late.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Just a little recycling, getting rid of this old hose, and don't want to throw it away.
You do know you can't recycle that, right?
Why not? It's plastic. I suppose I can't recycle my old plastic bags or old Christmas lights.
Well, you're right. You can't. Sorry, man. Listen, recycling works great when you know what to put in the recycling bin. If it's not a bottle, a jug, or a tub, it'll clog the system, slow down the process, and cost us all a lot of time and money. For more info on this, go to MinCotaRecycling.com.
This is How They Do It, sponsored by Coast Materials, and this month we talk to Tom Knowlton, owner and head brewer of Drecker Brewing. How do they take grain, barley, malt, and turn it into your delicious carbonated beverage called beer? You'll gain access only brewmasters have and find out what it takes to start a brewery and make your favorite beer. It's more than you might think. Tuesday, December 20th at 2:35, another episode of This is How They Brew It on The Jay Thomas Show.
Happy holidays from everyone at CCRI. Start out the new year with the career that you're proud of. Join CCRI and make a difference every day in the lives of individuals with disabilities. Visit ccrimorehead.org to learn more and apply.
Hey, Chris Berg here. Radio personalities like myself, we spend a ton of time and energy during the day, obviously in front of the computer. We're looking for news stories for you, talking to callers. So when the day is finally over, I get to go home and crawl into my Comfort King excited because I know I'm going to get a great night's sleep. At Comfort King Mattress Factory, they build a mattress just for you. That's what they do. Comfort King has the only lifetime comfort guarantee. So buy local and shop Comfort King Mattress Factory.
Holiday Lights is bigger and better. The drive-through light show is now at the fairgrounds. Jump in the car and head out to the event that is merry and bright. Brought to you by Christmas Decor and Cass County Electric. Buy tickets online and save at RedRiverValleyFair.com.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us this afternoon. 112 right now. Outside, a little on the dicey side, visibility under a mile across the FM metro, and across the state we're seeing reduced visibility all the way down to a quarter mile as winter weather advisories remain in effect up and down the Red River Valley until 6 o'clock this evening. That's going to be from western Minnesota and Fergus Falls up to Thief River Falls, Fargo to Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, and Langdon. West of the Red River Valley, we have ongoing blizzard warnings that have been issued from Sisseton, Lisbon, Jamestown to Rugby, Bottineau, Ashley, and westward towards Montana. Those also set to expire at 6 o'clock this evening. And, you know, it's just kind of nasty out there. Road reports across the area, no travel advised still across all of North Dakota. I-29 is open with numerous incidences between Grand Forks and Fargo. Two that I can see right now, one south of Buxton, one north of Fargo by, one by Buxton, one by Reynolds, I should say. Also, I-94 westbound from Fargo is closed all the way to Dickinson, and a couple other of those highways around the area that are closed. Looks like we have Highway 34, 46, 13 just reopened. Highway 20 reopening north of Jamestown, although from Jamestown to Harvey still closed as well as to McCluskey. So conditions will slowly start to improve this afternoon, but maybe I should say they'll start to improve this evening. We're going to be hanging on to light snow across the area for the rest of the afternoon. A few moderate pockets in there just west of Grand Forks, as well as from Hillsboro to Cooperstown. And these are going to be tracking from the north to the south through the rest of this afternoon, and then from the west to the east as we head throughout this evening, with the scattered snow showers continuing. All that getting mixed in with a northwest wind 15 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour, giving areas of reduced visibility, again at times under a half a mile, with some slippery roads out there. Tonight, those scattered snow showers going to wind down. We'll drop down to a low of 9. We'll hang on to the northwest wind, though, gusting over 30 at times, producing, again, more areas of reduced visibility. And we could see some patchy blowing snow lingering into your Saturday, but the winds will lighten up as we head into Saturday afternoon around 10 to 20. Not necessarily warm, though. Only a high of 11 with cloudy skies, maybe a couple isolated flurries, and we should shake the snow by Sunday. Mostly cloudy, a high of 4 above. But as we look into next week, oh, Bridgette, it's going to get so cold next week that I don't even really want to think about it because I'm just going to stay indoors. We'll be seeing high temperatures on Monday and Tuesday around 0 or just below 0, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you know, we might even have high temperatures as cold as 10 below. So it's going to get really frigid out there. Our next chance for impactful weather looks to come in Wednesday into Thursday, as right now, impressive little clipper system tries to bring snow into the area. We'll see exactly what happens, but for the most part, it looks like it could be affecting the southern half of North Dakota as well as Minnesota just before the Christmas travel time.
Well, and we want to remind folks that, again, this is the time of the year that this happens. Perhaps we normally don't get quite this cold a temperature, but at this point, we're there. It is December in North Dakota. Remember to take precautions. Keep an eye on your pets. If you have someone who has livestock, or if you know someone with livestock, just remember that they're putting forth a lot more effort than maybe we are on a regular day. We know it's cold, but they really have to bed down their animals, keep some high-protein feed in front of them, keep getting them fed, keep those waters open. And it's not so easy to do in the livestock industry, but these folks are going to put their best efforts forward because I'm going to want a steak that comes off that livestock before too long. So we'll have to do what we can.
You know, Bridgette, I got to ask, what do the ranchers do when it gets that cold out with the livestock? I mean, if we have, say, high temperatures, 10 below zero, overnight lows, 15 to 30 below, not including wind chill, although I think that the wind chill affects us a little bit more than the animals, but nonetheless, they still get cold from it. What do they do to help brace the livestock for that, or can they tolerate that cold adequately?
Well, you know, we know that when you're looking at your herd, you're going to pay close attention to the body condition and the fat cover on your cows. If they are thin animals, that's not going to be enough insulation, and snowfall cover on the backs of cows will not melt quickly on cows with good insulation. That's a really good sign. You know, if you see snow on your cattle, it means they're well insulated. So those that might be thinner, that might not be prepared for the winter that we're in hand right now, you're going to want to sort them off, move them into a barn, make sure they have extra bedding, keeping them out of the snowfall. Now, with this drifting that's going on that we've had, it can make access to feed and water difficult. So there are times where you've got to move your animals to areas that have better wind protection, or, you know, breaking bunks or breaking drifts to get to the feed bunks, making sure your waterers are not icing over, that you're able to get animals to them, because they need a fairly high amount of water to maintain that internal body heat. And again, we don't want them on poor quality feed. Now is the time to make sure that we are definitely feeding animals well. I like to graze a lot when I'm stuck in a snowstorm, and I think they do too. So let's keep those things going. Yeah, whenever possible.
I completely agree. And, you know, do the ranchers up here, you know, for those animals that do need to be brought in the extreme cold, do they generally have enough room to do so for the size of their herd? Or, like, is that something that you kind of plan alongside? You know, if I plan on having this much cattle, maybe I need to have this much room in case something like that happens.
So there's a lot of depends that happen with what you're talking about. If, you know, normally you don't have enough barn space to put every animal in, but you can sort off those that might need more warmth, more stability. If we were in the midst of calving season, much like we were back in April during our 2 major blizzards in North Dakota, that's when we saw so many baby calves being moved into farm shops and garages on your house or wherever you could go to keep them warm and dry. And that's really the same thing with these pregnant mama cows right now, too. You can get them out of the wind where you have wind breaks out in the pasture. Maybe you have them up against some trees. You can open up barns so they can come and go as needed. But until the temperatures dipped like we're going to see coming up, Justin, we were doing really well. And, you know, the temperatures weren't terrible. Now we'll have to pay a little closer attention and, again, make sure that we're bringing out those quality feeds to keep everybody's energy levels up and the nutrition going during these cold spells.
Oh, I see. Well, when Weather and Ag in Focus returns, we're going to get Jay Behrends on the line with us from First Interstate Bank. If you would like to join in on our conversation, ask Jay a question or us, feel free to do so. Give us a call, 701-293-9000, or you can reach us via email, weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves. Got some advice from our helpful elves. Oh, so many gifts to explore when you go to Total Wine and more. Bottles so delightful, whoa. Priced so amazingly low.
Love what you find. Always lowest prices at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, Call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
I can't get my computer to work.
Let me help you with that.
How'd you do that?
I just got techie with Geeks on Site.
Our geeks literally come on site. No need to stop what you're doing or block off time. We come to your home, office, or wherever you are. And we don't just fix whatever computer issues you might be having. We explain and teach you along the way so you can feel empowered and then help others at home or in your office. Better yet, don't have time for tech support to come to you? Let us remote into your desktop or laptop, and one of our geeks will instantly walk you through. We offer affordable prices on our remote services and IT support. You and those in your office will never have to wait hours to have your technical questions answered. Get your free computer diagnosis today with your very own geek.
Get started now and we'll help you instantly. Call 866-967-3879. 866-967-3879. That's 866-967-3879.
And welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with meteorologist Justin Storm. Normally, we'd have our chief meteorologist, Dean Wysocki, with us as well, but unfortunately, we can't all be here today because, you know what, there's a raging snowstorm that's been going across the Dakotas, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe
you know Bridgette, I heard that he actually needed to take a nap, so...
Well, you know what? When you're a weather guy and there's extreme weather going on, you are nothing but busy. That's what I would have to say.
That is very true.
Well, and that's kind of like being a banker here at the end of the calendar year. And that would lead us right to our guest. His name is Jay Behrends. He's with First Interstate Bank of Aberdeen. I hope I got all that right in my notes there, Jay. And welcome to you. And please introduce yourself to our guest, if you could, please.
Hi. Just Jay Behrends out of Aberdeen, South Dakota with First Interstate Bank. I'm part of the agribusiness division for this area.
So, Jay, I get the feeling you have probably been in banking for a little bit of time. Perhaps you're not new to this game?
Yeah, I've been with banking a little over 20 years. Also been a licensed crop insurance agent for about that long. I spent 18 years with the Farm Credit System, and then the last 6 or 7 with First Interstate Bank here in Aberdeen.
So you've seen some changes, even though we haven't seen the changes that maybe we did as you listen to farmers talk about the last time we had inflation, high interest rates, et cetera, and that would have been in the 80s. But any contrasts and comparisons of what you've seen over that 20-year run, Jay, things that you've watched that changed drastically in your time frame as a banker for farmers?
I think the biggest thing is probably well, first off, it's the faces. A lot of the farmers that went through that high interest rate run in the 80s, a lot of those guys are retirement age or have retired. There's a lot of younger, newer faces, people that didn't feel it as much, and it's no different than banking. You don't see a lot of bankers over age 52 or lenders because a lot of them did not go into the profession at that time. That being said, with the raise in the interest rates and the inflation rate, it really it changes how you think, how you spend money, how you manage risk, that kind of thing. So, yeah, those are probably the biggest things.
Oh, I'd say those are pretty big things right now. As you think about that, Jay, how do farmers generally do in an area in which we're in right now, where we're seeing the interest rates are going up, commodity prices are up, but with inflation and so forth, is this a situation that as we go into a recession, it'll be better for farmers, or any insight into how things look based on history?
I think the biggest thing is, the biggest thing to keep in mind, and what I've told a lot of our producers in the last 6 to 7 months, is really look at mitigating risk. And, the biggest risk right now is interest rates. In the 80s, they went to 18, 20%. Right now, it may seem, you hear rumors that this is topped out, but we're kind of in unprecedented times. So what a lot of guys are doing, what we're suggesting a lot of producers do, is just to kind of manage that current working capital position. Keep their cash in hand. We've got individuals that are, instead of paying down debt right now, if you've got a fixed interest rate long term, take that cash, pay down that variable rate interest, pay down the operating line, keep cash on hand, because there's a lot of unforeseen things that may be coming our way. And if, there's an event that may trigger a major price drop in commodities, just making sure that you've got the working capital to weather the storm, per se.
I see. And when you had mentioned, mitigating risk, what you had kind of gone into it a little bit. What are some of the things that, say, someone in the ag community could do that they could do to mitigate that risk? What does that look like? Or maybe what are some things that they shouldn't do or should think maybe twice before doing in the times where we're going, with all the rising inflation rates?
I think the first thing in risk mitigation that I think of is marketing. Purely talking from farmers, but this does come into some cattle guys too, is looking at your fixed expenses, looking at what your year is going to cost you. Look out on those the markets and just see if you can lock in a price that will be profitable. First off, you need to know your break even for your farm, but at the same time, look at trying to lock in 50 to 60% of what your crop is going to be. You can tell me better from the weather point of view, but at the same time, I've heard that 23 is supposedly going to be a good weather year for growing crops. So we should have a good supply, hypothetically. That being said, we'll have a little bit of a downturn in price. So it's a good time to, try to forward contract at least, 50% of your crop. The biggest thing probably not to do, last year was a case in point. Commodity prices went up at harvest. Some guys get persuaded or fall into that lull. If I do nothing, I'll make more money. Well, that happened this last year, but it's not the common, and it's not the right way to mitigate risk. So,
I see.
That's a really good point. That is not the way to mitigate your risk. So let's keep that one in mind. And, so folks, really want to encourage you to stay with us. We're visiting with Jay Behrends. He's with First Interstate Bank in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Jay, we've got more questions coming up for you, and we're going to want to do that when we return. One of those things I want to ask you about is, do you feel that with where our commodity prices are right now, with the increase in interest rates, do you think we're seeing more retirements off the farm at this point, and where maybe that's headed? But we'll visit about that after we come back, right after this.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wolf, president of Laney's. Are you considering replacing your furnace this winter? If so, you need to consider Laney's, the only company in town that offers a lifetime guarantee. Our guarantee states that if anything ever goes wrong with your furnace, Laney's will fix it for free, day or night, no cost to you. That's Laney's legendary lifetime guarantee.
Annual check and service required. Call Laney's today for more details at 237-0543.
Do you have money in the bank or the stock market? Do you check the balance often? Why wouldn't you do the same for your biggest asset, your home? If you want to know right now what you could sell your home for in this hot market, go to FargoHomeValues.com. Type in any address and find out instantly. You might be surprised how much you could get for your home. Again, that website is fargohomevalues.com, or call me, John Nosala, for a personal valuation. Find out more at jkpropertypartners.com.
It's Jay and Ronnie from the Coffee Club, and we enjoy drinking coffee because it keeps us energized and focused.
Well, let's be frank. I enjoy drinking coffee because coffee keeps me wide-eyed in the morning, but I'll tell you this type of coffee is organic, specialty-grade coffee, beans selected from the top 2% available, 100% Arabica bean coffee, certified organic, non-GMO, low acidity, rich, smooth, and ready to drink.
The finish is clean and it has a pleasant aftertaste. It's delicious. It's so far the best coffee that we've had. It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. All you need to do is go to mystore.com, click on My Coffee, and enter the promo code WDAY.
That's promo code WDAY to get your own My Coffee.
It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. Go to mystore.com, promo code WDAY.
You can always count on Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Always crisp, always easy drinking, always just right. The perfect balance of flavor and refreshment since 1903. Welcome to the High Life. 2019 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celebrate responsibly.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nail the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free, updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
And welcome everyone to Weather and Ag in Focus here on WDAY. I'm Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director, along with meteorologist Justin Storm. And Justin Storm, just based on your name, this is your week to shine, my friend. Nice. Glad you can do it.
It definitely was.
On a plus side, we have a fabulous guest to warm your hearts as we talk about banking, farming, the ag economy, and the year end as we're approaching that for many of those in the farm community. And our guest is Jay Behrends. He's with First Interstate Bank of Aberdeen, South Dakota. So, Jay, before we went to a stop there to catch up on the local events around the town, I asked you a question in regards to, do you feel that with high commodity prices, the changeover that folks are seeing with interest rates and perhaps some of these higher dollar land sales, do you think more of your farmers are retiring? And what's that ratio between farmers retiring and new farmers coming in? Do you see any insights into that?
It's hard to put the ratio on because I think it really has to do with the area, the environment. One of the things I talk about with customers is to never assume that your operation is the same or situation is the same as another farm. Just due to the fact that with retirements, ideally there's someone younger that's coming into the operation at that time. Two schools of thought with the current times. Some farmers, or most farmers, have earned more money or more cash in the last year than they have ever, probably in their entire history. So someone who is thinking about retirement, they may not want to let go because things are pretty good. They're putting a lot of money in the bank. But at the same time, it really is an ideal time for young people to get started, because the golden rule is that you want to have them get 1 or 2 profitable years under the belt so they can weather any storms that may come. So as far as the exact ratio, are we seeing people retire and new people come in? I would probably plead the fifth on that, just due to the fact that it's different with every area. We are seeing a lot of land sales, but we have a lot of people that are holding on to.
I see. And you had mentioned you kind of wanted to plead the fifth on the the ratio of people retiring and new people coming in. And this is kind of along a similar question, but how has the trend been with newer farmers getting in and doing business, taking loans out, getting into farming? Have you seen that kind of been ticking up, or is it just kind of been heading steady in past years compared to, average amounts of new people coming in?
I would say it's been steady with past years, just due to the fact that, you may have more, what you might say, investor type people wanting to get into farming right now. But I would say it's a little bit the same as it was, just due to the fact that, getting into farming, it's a passion. It's a lifestyle. It's something that someone has all the time, not just when prices are good, even though it gets a little bit strong.
I see.
Yeah.
And what about the whole, with interest rates increasing and what will likely continue to increase before they, plateau at some point, whether, that's 8%, 10%, 15%, hopefully not 20% like back in the 80s. But how has that been affecting business with the bank and agriculture? Have you been seeing a slowdown just because it's costing people more money to use that money? Or are you kind of seeing an increase in that because people are like, hey, I'd rather get in now than maybe a couple years down the road what I was planning to do? It might cost me a couple $100,000 more because interest rates will likely continue, and obviously that's just a guessing game. But how does that kind of look with you?
We are seeing less use of operating accounts, which is a variable rate. And if you look at, prime has moved over, a little over 4% in the last 10 months or so, and that's really a major indicator, and that's what kind of scares people, is that variable rate, which is what happened in the 80s. So we're seeing less use of that. We are seeing a few more guys lock in some interest rates, say for newer equipment, just due to the fact that if they paid cash in the past, they realized that by locking in that interest rate, whether it's 4 or 5 years and whatever, that is a locked rate, and keeping the cash available to keep that operating. So I mean, that's kind of what we're really seeing. Land rates obviously have went up too, but nothing sparks the passion for land like high commodity prices. So
that's very true. So Jay, this is maybe kind of an interesting scenario that I happen to think of here as we're just visiting, and I've got a college friend. Her parents are getting to the age where they're not going to be able to manage their farm anymore. They've got pasture and row crop, and they're looking for a young farmer to take over that operation for them. Do you have any advice to folks maybe trying to start like an apprenticeship where they want to start working with that soon-to-be retiring farmer to get into that business, or any other suggestions for folks who are just looking to getting started?
I think the biggest thing would get someone as a sounding board, or what you might say, a trusted business advisor. whether it's your local banker, whether it's another farmer, just someone to, one, help the people looking for that individual, to make sure they get the right individual, and two, if just to help refer someone that would be qualified and to be the right one. A lot of times people trying to give that opportunity sometimes end up with the wrong individual, and it goes badly. So, don't be afraid to talk to your local bankers. Just go in and sit down, and they usually know who's out there, who's looking to grow, and there's a lot of great young producers out there that are just getting their foot in the door. They just need that opportunity. So, and the bankers usually will have a pretty good handle on the character of the individual, their work ethic, the commitment to what they do. So I think that would be probably the best step.
I would really agree. You have your pulse on the community, what's going on, particularly in smaller communities with smaller banks, right? You've been an ag lender, as you said, Jay, for 20 years. You're very familiar with those who are around you and their operations. And I'm not going to say that people should be calling you real quick for the inside information, but I think you might have it. So
that's right.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, really that's what you'll find in agricultural lending is that the lenders that are out there are, whether it's Farm Credit System or banks, they usually there'll be somebody in each branch, whatever, that really has a good feel and good connection with the community, and can be there to help support that transition. So.
Well, we had a caller. Mike wanted to know, right now with the cost for renting ground, and my guess is he's looking towards cash rent on farmland. If you're feeling like it's high or low, or if you're seeing an upward trend or anything like that, I'm not sure if that's a plead the fifth question for you, Jay, but I'm going to ask what your opinion might be.
My official answer is it depends.
Fair.
I think right now, I'll give you both sides. There's operations out there, low cash, or what I should say, low debt, a lot of cash in the operation. If they've got something that works for them, they could probably pay 120 to 150% what the market is in the area. On the other side, if you're a young producer trying to grow your operation, some of the worst mistakes you could make is go out there and pay what someone else offered without having the knowledge or the expertise to really look at your own operation and see if that's a good bet. Some of the worst decisions for your business are made in good times. So if you go out there and step out and get yourself in trouble and lose money on that farm, you not only may not make money on that new farm you're renting, but you may take profitability from the rest of your farm. And that's probably the biggest risk with rents. So.
See, and Jay, I got a question here, because I'm not very familiar with all, the banks and ag, the whole relationship that has been built over the last so many decades. But I personally just went through the whole process of taking out a mortgage to purchase a house, and that was just a big hassle going through all the different lenders, banks, and whatnot. Are there any third-party banking systems that do business with ag? Say, like example for housing, instead of going to my local bank, you could go to Rocket Mortgage, or you could go to some other website and you put in some information. They give you a loan for whatever you're asking. Is there something similar for that with ag?
Are you talking for real estate purchases or just for operating?
I guess both. I don't know if there's a difference or not. Okay. I imagine there is, but.
I would say, it's. I'll qualify it this way. There's obviously the largest ag lender in like our area, North Dakota, South Dakota, is the Farm Credit System. But then when banks come involved, you've got your banks that are passionate, where 50% of their book will be in agriculture. I mean, they're very committed, as committed as anyone else. But then you'll have some banks that will have a lot lower book, but a higher risk tolerance. It has a lot to do with regulation, what regulatory guidelines that bank is under, and it will also have to do just with the appetite for risk from that bank. So there's going to be all those different variances of lenders that are out there. So outside of the banks and farm credit, then there's some alternate groups that come in, some insurance companies that will lend on real estate only. A lot of times they'll only want bigger deals over $1 to $2 million. Then you're also going to have some high risk lenders. If someone has had negative effects on their operation where they need to go to an alternative investment group, you can, but obviously the costs are quite a bit higher with those groups. So.
I see. And if you were trying to make that decision of, do I want to go with option A, B, or C, and obviously it's going to depend on exactly what they're doing, but what again were some of those things that, say, if I wanted to do something similar to this, that I would want to look for in picking out the right decision that would be best for me?
As far as which type of lender to choose?
Yes.
I think you probably, the best thing would be to, a lot of people get hung up on interest rates. They get hung up on that actual, that's their number one concern. And there's lenders out there that will get you the best interest rate. But I would encourage you to meet with, 3 to 4, meet with as many as you can, and just try to find out what kind of value they bring to your operation and what they bring to you. The interest rates will be competitive for most lenders if your credit is good and your cash flow and ratios all work. The biggest thing you need to look for in a lender is really, how engaged are they, how knowledgeable are they on what you do, and what kind of value do they bring you outside of the interest rate and the free count every year. So that's the biggest thing that you'll need to do, because at the end of the day, making the right decisions, there's going to be decisions in any operation that will launch you ahead or send you way back. So as long as you have a partner that understands that and will help you with those decisions, that's what you need to have. So.
I see. And we've been speaking with Jay Behrends from First International Bank out of Aberdeen. And Jay, this has been a joy. I've really enjoyed listening to what you've had to say with the whole banking and agriculture business and everything that goes together with it, and kind of what's going on in today's world right now. If someone listening has additional questions, or maybe they want to look into First Interstate Bank, where could they go to get more information, or possibly get a hold of you if you'd like to give that information out?
The best thing, our direct line for me is 605-277-4824, or you can just go on our website, firstinterstatebank.com. We are a large ag lender, and we're committed to agriculture, and we'd love to sit down and visit with you for your operations. So we're always open to visit.
And I had a follow-up question with that before we let you go. How far of a reach do you guys have? Do you do business in the tri-state area? Is it all 50 states? What's that kind of look like?
Our market right now, since our merger in South Dakota, we were Great Western Bank until this last year when we merged with First Interstate Bank. First Interstate Bank is predominantly the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. Great Western Bank was South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, and Colorado, and a little bit in Arizona. We do have an office in Fargo. We've got one office in Marshall, Minnesota. But yeah, our agriculture is diverse, from fruits and nuts on the West Coast to corn and soybeans in Iowa. So, and then we've got cattle in between. So I guess that's right. Best.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much, Jay. We hope you have a great rest of the year and a happy new year, and we'll hope things continue to go well for you. When Weather and Ag in Focus returns, we'll talk on a few of those ag topics that we're going to get to, and we'll take a quick look at the forecast as well. But first, we'll get you updated on the latest from the American Ag Network.
Save now on premium mattresses, pillows, bases, and linens at Accord Comfort Sleep Systems directly across from Olive Garden. Find the best mattress design and construction with our exclusive technologies such as our Accord Comfort Reflex Layer, ensuring proper spinal alignment. Our Thermodyne Climate Control fabric is perfect for the couple sleeping hot and cold. Buy today and take it home today, or free delivery in the FM metro area. Accord Comfort Sleep Systems. You're going to love sleeping with us.
Hi, Nancy Kelly here from Labor Masters. I'd like to take time to say thank you to the businesses, the homeowners, and the 1,500 plus employees that worked with us this past year. We know that without you, there would be no us. So thanks to each and every one of you for helping us have another successful year. And remember, if you need seasonal help, give us a call at 701-566-8755 or find us online at labormasters.net. From all of us at Labor Masters, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
Mixed action in the grains, livestock strong. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this closing market. Buyers have continued to emerge on soybean price breaks to support the oil seed, which happened again today. However, those buyers do quickly disappear when prices start to approach significant chart resistance near $14.90 a bushel in the January contract. Additional support also came from some double-digit gains in soy meal today. That largely leaves soybean prices trading a sideways trading range below $14.90 per bushel. The longer-term trend has been higher, but that trend has had a significant ceiling, and it continued to not be able to break through that ceiling today. Chinese buying is expected to dry up quickly in the next few weeks as they turn to South America for their imported commodities. Corn and wheat prices were weaker again today. Here, too, both of these commodities traded channels on the charts, but their channels were trending lower as fund managers continued to interpret their supply and demand fundamentals through a lens colored by recession fears. Now, the protein complex did find some good support to counter the negativity in many of the other markets today. Solid cash cattle prices near $155 in the south provided that support for live cattle futures, while both the cattle and hog markets found support today from this week's snowstorm combined with next week's bitter cold expected to spread across the major producing areas. The dollar gained a little bit today, while crude oil had quite a wild ride, but is now back to trading more than 2% lower. Let's get a look at the closing commodity numbers. March corn down a half at $6.53. January beans up 6.5 at $14.80. Bean meal January up $7.70 a ton at $4.63. Bean oil January down 46 at $63.36. Wheat Chicago March down 3 3/4 at $7.53.5. Kansas City March down 16.5 at $8.44, and the March Minneapolis wheat down 7 3/4 at $9.11. Live cattle February up 92 at $155.77. Feeders January up 72 at $183.77, and the February lean hogs, they are up 4.12 at $85.77. The dollar sitting at 104.6, and crude oil is trading down almost $2 at just over $74 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us 1:55 in the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with WDAY and Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And we just got done speaking with Jay Behrends from First Interstate Bank out of Aberdeen. It was a fun conversation. I encourage you to go back and give that a listen if you could. Bridgette, why don't we take a look at a ag topic here, one we were going to try to get to earlier, but the weather kind of dominated over that. What's going on with dust ammonia lingering for cattle producers?
Can you imagine I'm going to bring up dust pneumonia after we just got a kabillion pounds of snow dumped on us everywhere? Does that make any sense whatsoever? But
None
yeah,
at all.
All right. Well, pneumonia can not only affect us at this time of the year when we have wet, sloppy conditions in our livestock, but also this summer with an extremely hot and dry, especially as we look to the west and the southwest United States, we noticed a lot more dust particulates in the air. Wildfires that blew through the areas also raised more particulates. And when that happens, it's not only a feedlot issue, but that can happen with your cattle pretty much anywhere. And that situation can indeed linger. Now, as cattle producers, as well as those who also have horses, sheep, et cetera, are going to watch for pneumonia, things that you would see, whether it's caused by dust or by the winter weather, would be lethargy, droopy ears, nasal discharge. They're going to stretch their necks as almost a way to strain to breathe. Breathing can be labored, kind of a hacking that goes along with it. Now, if you have animals that are showing advanced signs of distress from pneumonia, it's going to be an uphill battle to control them. Most often, you're going to have good herd health right from the get-go, and you're vaccinating to prepare that immune system to fight these pathogens, but we don't always know that that's going to be the case, right? You and I get sick, and we weren't expecting it at all, and that can happen in the same situation with your livestock. So keep an eye on your herd, watch for them, just like we talked about earlier in this hour when you are out there visiting and feeding your animals. And by visiting, I mean you're walking through the herd, you're checking animal health, look for those signs of pneumonia in them, and make sure then you get a course of action for treatment coming up as quickly as possible. For those who are listening and think, well, wouldn't you just go run out and grab them a shot? Remember, antibiotics in livestock are very similar to antibiotics in human health, and you still need a prescription for that. So it's not quite so easy sometimes. You want to pay attention.
Yeah, definitely. And what's going on with potatoes?
Good news. Since our favorite things to talk about here are beef and beer, I'm going to add potatoes as our favorite side dish. Should that be a fair statement, Justin?
I think that sounds great.
Okay, so here's the situation. Pre-pandemic levels of potatoes, well, we're even higher than those right now, not only in consumption, but unfortunately also in price. A lot of that has to do with input costs, rising inflation in the food industry. But overall, it's important to note that what we're doing these days is eating at home more often. We're still going ahead and using lots of potatoes in our diet. We know that they are a steady form of nutrition that we can have, especially here in the Midwest. We like them a lot. The only category that did not see up in potatoes year on year right now has been deli prepared sides. I guess we're buying less made potato salad and making it at home on our own. So just a few things that are happening in the potato market. Just a last touch of the weather for us from you, Justin. Things to keep in mind if you're maybe heading to the Bison football game tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Our winter weather advisory remains in effect until 6 o'clock. Blizzard warnings west of the valley. Scattered snow showers and windy conditions going to persist throughout this evening and tonight, producing areas of some blowing snow. We'll see that wind gusting as high as 40 miles an hour, but it will go lighter for Saturday. Still a little breezy. A few leftover snow flurries possible. Otherwise cloudy. Temperatures near 10 degrees in the afternoon. And as we head into our weekend, or the end of the weekend and the beginning of next week, cold air begins to settle on into the area. We'll see high temperatures next week, 0 to 10 degrees below, and overnight lows 10 to 25 below with dangerous wind chills. Another chance for wind and snow looks to come in Wednesday of next week, just in time for our Christmas weekend. That'll do it for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. I'll have another full look at the forecast coming up here in about 6 minutes with Jay Thomas on the Jay Thomas Show, but we wish you a happy weekend, and we'll be back on Monday 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This has been Weather and Ag in Focus, and we all hope you have a safe but great rest of your afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM.